trusting the timing. That's what, trusting the timing on your own healing. That's Mena. I'm Jacqueline. Hi, Mena.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to life.
We are playing on either side of the Atlantic Ocean.
And Jacqueline just saw an eclipse. How do you say it?
The solar eclipse, yes. It was passed right over top. So it was we saw the full view. It was interesting that the clouds covered most of it until it was near the end of it. And it was also very symbolic because it's kind of like the whole clouds were shading everything, and then the whole sky cleared up and new energy, that's what solar eclipse is about, sort of thing. But most of us feel it in our own timing, trusting the timing.
At the same time, I was in the garden taking some sun, and I had to leave because it was very warm, very, very hot, not warm. So that's it. An eclipse and light at the same time. Different places in the planet, different views, different perspectives, and all is well.
All is well, and when I realized that all is well, like all is really well, like, saying those words, all is well, I think the first time I said it was probably 30 odd years ago. And it was like I was all is well, doing my best to convince myself, all is well, all is well. But it didn't feel all was well. It felt like effort and struggle and and then one day, all is well, like all is well, all is well.
Perfect. That's how we start. We don't run a marathon like that. we start and we have to put some effort in it. Yes, sometimes it is like that, but then it becomes easier and easier and easier, or in this case, more truth. How do you say that? More true, more truthful.
Yeah.
And truthful and truthful. Yeah. So I am thinking that you saw an eclipse. I saw lots of light and heat. I could say you are wrong. It's the sun is shining, and you could say to me, you are wrong. No, it's not. It's an eclipse. And we are both right. How is it possible?
Yeah. How is that possible? Because we're each, like, if you draw a circle, if you ever remember that and you had a little, whatever those things are called, compass, and you put it in this middle and you draw around, right? And every person is like a point on the circle. So every point is a little different perspective. And if you ever did psychology, there was always the experiment, back in the 60s that they used to write about all the time in the psych books, how you could ask somebody if they saw a crime or something happen, what happened, whether it was an accident, and everybody said it a little differently. That someone noticed what the person was wearing, someone noticed what hit, someone saw feeling. Everybody had a different perspective. And that's even in the medical profession, right? Is doctors have different perspectives with their patients. They may have similar symptoms, but it's still a little bit different, isn't it?
Because there is not one person that is the same that other person. And also the situation and also the disease. It can be the same disease, but it doesn't show in the same way with each person because each person is different. So that's why a machine cannot do medicine, a good medicine, because there is the human factor and the diversity of all of us. Yeah.
Yes, I was looking at the chart of the Pfizer vaccine on the children, and the ones that had the placebo still had many reactions. So they still had fever, some still had vomiting, some still had headaches. And so if there was nothing in that injection, that to me proves that what you think about, what you feel about getting that injection, that if you have anxiety about getting it, that can trigger your body into a reaction. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yes, I am a bit awkward with what you are saying. Um, all you say may be true, of course, but they did that with children. We usually don't investigate with children. We don't do placebo vaccines with in children. I don't feel that is a very good thing to do. But transposing to persons, and sorry, children are persons too. It's not what I mean, but to adults.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course, because what you believe, it is your truth. If you believe something will harm you, it's more probable that it will. It's the law of attraction. Yeah. And of course, if you believe something is good, it will be good for you. That's the placebo. Um, the placebo does that. If you believe it will make you good, you may heal with the placebo.
Right.
If you believe something will make you harm, it's possible, even if it is a placebo, that makes you harm because it is what you believe. You are powerful.
Yes.
Your mind is powerful if you let it, especially. So be aware of what you think and believe because it may become true.
And so it made me think, what if all these vaccines that everybody's getting, what if they really are like water? And so the people that believe the vaccines are saving them, right? They're saving them. And the people that think the vaccines are harming them, they're harming them. And at the end of all this, they'll go, just want y'all know, it had nothing to do with what we put in your arm. It had to do with what you thought and what you felt about it. That would be a huge aha. But
But and people are different and they have different beliefs, and sometimes they wish to believe something and they cannot because their life story doesn't let them yet. So you are saying all that and you are free with your mind in that way of saying. And I took the vaccine because even if I believe in all you say, I don't believe enough because I was so much educated in some form that I didn't make that evolution. So for me, it was safer. I felt safer to take the vaccine. And I would like to be like you, Jacqueline, that you believe you don't need it and you don't. I do that in other ways, like money or other things that I believe I have, and it comes to me with health. I am much better. I am human.
But again,
And we
we're
respect
in
each
different
other.
roles, though, Mena. Right? If I was in
What?
your, if I would, we're in different places, right? If I was a doctor, right, in the hospital all the time, I might be doing exactly what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not.
And I have another thing. It is because now it's not needed anymore. At least here we are so protected and blah. But at the beginning, if I if I was in with a patient that had the disease and I would get it, or even if someone suspected I would get it, I would be uh, forbidden of working, and that would be very harm to the other patients that wouldn't be treated.
Exactly.
Especially we, uh, if no, I do work with oncologic patients. If an oncologic patient gets another disease, an infectious disease, it can kill them. And if they are not treated, they will die at the same. Of course, I believe people only die when it is their time to die. I believe that. But I still am a doctor and I still do my best to help someone if
Yeah.
they wish to live.
And I
I
totally,
don't know. I'm not God. I am a part of God, as we all are, but I am not God. I don't know everything, so I do my best in what I believe.
and I am the same, right? Is I only do the best what comes through me, and I couldn't. This is I think the key for a lot of people is you and I are in, we live in different countries, we have different jobs, we have different roles, we have common ingredient in that we want to live from the heart, and we know that healing, it can be more joyful and that helps your body, but in the process we come from it from different ways. And when each of us can respect the other perspective, right? When each of us can respect that that's true for them and we honor it, and I love you, and I am grateful that you have a different experience than I do, because I can see that in you, and I can see that then in the greater whole, and be awed at how each of us are different and unique. And the old me is gone, so this me is more freer to allow different perspectives, where the old me would have been, it would have been one way, like I would have been once upon a time, you just get all those vaccines, right? And then there was another point
Mhm.
in time, I was like, don't. And now I'm in the balance. I'm like, do what you feel guided to do because it's right for you, and only you know what's true for you. And to me, that's what's being healed right now, is that we're all learning to trust ourselves. We know what the experts and the advice is, and each of us has to choose and go, yes, no, yes, maybe, yeah, I'm gonna wait, right? um and then the ripple effects of that choice, again, it's all in the whole. We don't know what the impacts are, um and we don't know what the game plan is, and that's God, that's source. So all we have to ever know is Mena knows to follow her heart, I know to follow my heart, and as each of us follows our heart, we're trusting this greater process, and we're all having our heart's desires manifest in different ways. That's freedom. To me,
Yeah,
that's freedom.
yeah. That's freedom. Let's invite people to move freely, freely, because their body needs and your soul too. This is our body. This, this is our soul's temple. So respect and move because movement is good for the body and the soul. And we all have our learning curves and we change. I would never be here talking about some things uh, 20 years ago because I had a different format of thoughts in my mind and I changed a lot. Life made me change a lot. And I have my time. Lots of things I say now, I wouldn't say them before because I didn't believe in them. And if someone would tell me that, I wouldn't accept, I would resist, I would ignore because it was not my reality. Now it is, but I took my time. And we were talking about that before starting. Uh, we all have our time, and it's okay. We don't live the same reality, and we don't have the same thoughts and the same mindset also. We are different, we are unique, and all is well. And we all try to do our best, and we do. In fact, we do our best with the resources and with mindsets we have. We do. Don't blame yourselves. Your turn. Oh, honey, yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, it's like loving myself, loving yourself, loving starts here, right? And honoring starts here. And I've learned to be, just like Mena was saying, be okay with where I am in my perspective. If you had told me even a couple years ago, like that I could be the thoughts that I'm thinking now or feeling, no, because it's like a seed that grows, and when you're planting seeds, they're like little seeds, and then they open the seed pod and they grow a little root, and some sprout fast and some sprout slow, and they start to sprout, and even as they grow in the garden, they might look similar, but every single snowflake, every single aspect of nature is different. Foxes can look similar, they can look the same, but they're different. Whales, dolphins, spiders, everything is slightly different. We are slightly different, or a lot different, you know, but yet the inner core of source, God, creation, is the awe. And when I get in touch with that and I go, wow, what are you going to bring me today? Like, what gifts, what surprises, what what things are just going to be like, wow, that's freedom to enjoy, freedom to be.
Yes. Receiving gifts and blessings from above. Yes, and I was so scientific, and everything had to be proven. And then life happened, and I understood that science is not all, and there are many other things above science. And now I am more and more spiritual, and that's my truth now because, and I accept it and I chose it because it worked, and it worked more than only believing in science. And science is good, of course, but it's not enough. It's not enough. There is much more. There are so many things we don't know yet. There are so many things that other people know and we don't know. Are they wrong? Are they all wrong? Maybe they know something I don't know. And maybe they are wrong. But I cannot judge and reject if I don't know. I chose to go and see and experiment in my life and see if it worked for me. Some things did, some things didn't. So I'm free to choose.
And that's the experience. The experience to experience the experience is when each of us has our own experience. So we might listen to what someone says and we might go, yeah, ziplining sounds like fun. And you might decide to go and you get there and you get hooked up and then you're like, oh, no, I can't do it. That's part of your experience. And then they might say, it's okay, trust. And you're like, oh, no, I'm really nervous or I'm really scared. Look at that down there. No. And then sister's like, really, it's okay. Watch someone else go. And you watch. And then you're like, okay, I'll do it. And you're holding on, thinking, and then you're like, oh, this is okay. This is okay. This is okay. That's your experience. That's your experience. And then you convince yourself, right? And that is whether you're cooking a new meal, whether you're trying a new recipe, whether you're going a different way to work, right? Everything is your experience and you're trying it on, like going clothes shopping, or shoe shopping, and you try them on, you go, oh, they look good, and you take a couple steps and you go, oh no, they hurt too much, right? and you go, I can't wear those. Or you go, oh no, I wouldn't wear those shoes, and then you put them on, you're like, oh, they're so comfortable. Oh, I feel so good in them. That's your experience.
Yeah.
What we're doing is we're experiencing things.
And I can tell a different experience in my life too, because I had cancer, and after the cancer, I was forbidden of doing lots of things because some of my lymphatic were removed, and I could not really do some things because it could make me harm. And I always thought I won't be a sick person. I don't accept myself as a sick person. Now I am, but I won't be that forever because I wish to heal. I will heal. And so I respected a lot of things, but I was trying to exercise or to do more. And I had my kids were kids, and they didn't know or understand some things. And they would ask me, Mom, come with us, do this. And I did so many things I would never dare to do, even before I got sick, like jumping in all the doors, lots of things. And later I went to Disneyland and to Asterix Park, which has lots of I don't know how you call it, those mountains that go like that with a lot of speed. How do you call it?
The mountains that go up and down, like in Disney in California.
Those cars, yeah, but not mountain. With cars and
the roller coaster.
Roller coaster. That's it. I always hated roller coasters since my 6 years. I always hated. I would never go to a roller coaster. And then I took them to the parks, and they would like to go, and I could stay in the ground, and they would go with their father. And I told to myself, you can be a coward and stay in the ground, or you can go and live your life and experience and be with them. Go and I decided I will go to everything, and I I went, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I enjoyed. I conquered my fears, and I could stay limited forever. But of course, what we don't do for our children. But I didn't need to do that. The father could do it. I decided to have guts, some guts, and to try. And I really enjoyed it. It were very good days in my life, and I won. I did it, and it was good. So I think the most important is for us to respect what we feel inside, yes, and sometimes to have some guts if it feels good for us, and try.
And
Yeah.
you know, this just reminded me. The other day, I was eating at a restaurant on my own and enjoying the view and enjoying the food, and um, and this has become something I do naturally, right? And then later that night, I was like, all of a sudden, I had a memory of when I was in my 20s, and I used to do a lot of business travel, and I never could eat in a restaurant on my own. I would always looking for my clients to come eat with me, or I would eat in the hotel room, because my thought process was, I remember back then was, oh, what does it mean about me if I'm all alone? It means like I don't have a
Oh,
date,
that
nobody
woman thing.
likes me, or so all this was going on in my head, right? And
19th century.
and I had like it was just, I have, those thoughts are just gone, right? And so it was to kind of go, wow, how sort of under the influence I was so concerned about what everybody else was thinking about me. I was never in touch with my own body and my own experience. I wasn't sitting down concerned about, could I enjoy my meal? I was already going, oh, what are people going to say and think about me? People are watching me. People are looking at me. And 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 to be free of that is so, even if it's taken me 40 years, I don't know when it all happened, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's freedom. And I think that's what
Yeah.
a lot of this is about, is what we think about here, we think is normal. We think a lot of the things we think are normal. And that's the great thing about the pandemic, is it shook up our idea of normal. It caused us to see things differently. And if we come out of this with new thoughts and new ways of being, then that might not even show up again until years later, like with me, and then go, oh, that's right, I used to be so stressed about this, or I used to know. Because when you actually transform, you have forgotten that I was like that, like, because this is who I am. So Mena and I can
Mhm.
talk about, sometimes we talk about things that we did before, but there's other things that we've just completely forgotten about. So unless it shows up in our conversation now, it's just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, life is
And
so
I
good.
was saying 19th century. What? I was saying that because it's what I think sometimes when I think some things are not from this time. But then I thought, well, that's a judgment too. And some people that listen to us or are seeing us in this moment may do think like that, like Jacqueline used to, and that's okay. We respect it. Uh, we respect, of course. It's like this. We are different. We became different. Life changes us. Because even if we wish to do like this and be like this all the time, life happens and changes and makes us change. Change is the normal. And yes, something can be reality for me now or for you now. Yes. And who knows in 20 years what will be. So respect yourself. Respect yourself even if you don't like to eat alone in a restaurant. Okay, that's awesome too. That may be awesome too. What is good for me may be not good for you, or at least in this moment. What is good for Jacqueline? Sometimes I don't like it. I wouldn't make it, or or else, or the same. You would like some things I don't, and it's all okay. What is important is that we respect what we feel. Does it feel good for us? Does it work for us? Really works? Or are we doing it because our family did it, our neighbors do it? Is it truth for myself?
Mhm.
That is important, to respect myself. And if I feel awkward and I don't like it, I won't do it, even if the others do.
And it happens at different times, right? That's about trusting the timing, knowing what's correct for you. Recently met an 80-year-old woman who is full of fire. She spent the last couple years very sick, and her son thought like that when she started to say no, I'm going to get better, my life is just beginning. He still wanted to keep mom protected because mom was 80 and fragile. But at mom at 80 had decided for the first time now in her life that she was truly going to be free and express who she was. And she was like, I'm not wearing this mask stuff. I'm hugging people. I'm She's like, I'm living my life. I'm taking it one day at a time, and I'm going to get stronger and stronger. And she's on social media, and she's connecting with men younger than her, and she's playing and having fun, and she is like, it's taken me 80 years to get to this place where I can decide what I want to do in my life, right? And it made me smile so much because and it made me cry too, because I could see also my mother, um, me wishing for my mother to be that strong and say, I just want to do it. And to see it in her, it felt like it was like my mom almost saying to me from heaven, she really did do it her way. I just didn't see it that way. And,
Mhm.
so sometimes honoring other people's perspectives is healing. That's what I've also found for me, because I see that they're so strong in their personal expression that it's like honoring and reveling in their awesomeness. And to me, that is that is very healing, because that's unity of the whole, seeing us all strong and loving and expressing the way we want to express in our life.
And with that woman, it was at 80, and with that disease, and with me, or for me, it was at 40 with my cancer. And for other people, it will be in other times, and it can be a divorce, or lose your job, or it can be this COVID thing. And they are awful things and situations, but somehow that's how life talks with us when we don't wish to move forward, because sometimes we are accommodated in our little lives, and there is a bigger plan for us, evolution. So when we don't wish to move, life happens. And we change, we are forced to change. Yeah, and it's good. So I usually tell my patients this: look, if it was a century ago, you will be dead in a month or something. But now you are being given a new life. It is like if you die and you are born again. And in this new life, there is a big difference, a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know what you like and what you don't like. So you can choose. Focus on what you like, focus on what you love, focus on what you eat, and the rest doesn't matter. And they understand, because it's such a shock to have a cancer or a happening like this, that they understand and they change. And after that year, that awful year of treatments and revolutions inside,
Mm-hmm.
many of them get awesome people with awesome lives, because now they focus on what really matters for them. In different timings, of course, and others keep doing what they did before and keep getting diseases and diseases and diseases, or other bad things that are not bad things. They look bad because they don't like them, but it is life trying to awake those persons to be a different person, more present, happier, healthier, and so on. So serious.
Well, I think the normal is like our habits, and our habits is what most scientists will say come from our subconscious. And they just, like, you get up and you do the same things. Once you learn how to walk, you're walking, right? It's like there's this intelligence that's just happening in your body, and you're doing the things, and that's usually referred to as you're living from your subconscious, because you're just habitually doing the same thing. So that was normal. And when the pandemic hit, normal got stripped away, right? So normal could have been, for a lot of people, that you're always so stressed you don't even know you're stressed, because stressed is just how you live your life. You go to work, you got to shuffle the kids back and forth, and you were just, that was normal. Like, there was, for someone to say, hey, you want to slow down, you're like, no, this is normal. And then when it stops, when something happens, and thankfully, most people didn't have to have a disease or a hurricane, in that sense. It was like everything just stopped. Then you got to have a change in habit. You got to stay home and work. You got to discover how to use Zoom. You started to do things differently. And so some of the things that you might have thought were normal, you got to do different, and maybe discover that you want a new habit. You want a new way of being. And then when you recognize that if each day could be a new day, because all the great teachers talk about the present is the gift, the moment is the now. This is what we're to be aware of. Being that now, being that present, co-creating what choice you're going to make instead of just your habit of what was normal, can lead you to do different things. And I'm believing and I'm intending that a lot of people thought that stress or dis-ease or getting sick was normal, and that aging was normal, right? There's a whole part of the population that just thought that was normal. And I feel that as people have realized normal isn't necessarily natural, in that process, habits are breaking down, and each individual sees it differently. And that's the beauty of it, that there's no one answer, no one perfect answer. And as each of us recognizes and loves each other for that perspective, we're actually like loving our whole body, like our whole unity within ourselves, right? It's like when you had cancer, you had, there were some cells that had to go, right? There were cells that had to get out of your body. Cells that had, chemo was used to help clear things out. So in some cases, we have to let go of things that no longer serve us, right? Let go of those cells, let go of that in order to rejuvenate and then get healthier. And if we just see it as a natural healing process and we trust the timing, then we just love and honor every single person, wherever you are in the world, whatever you're thinking and feeling, because you're right where you need to be, right here, right now.
Right here, right now. And yes, and for instance, I did chemo, and of course it was awful because chemo almost kills us to kill the cancer. It's like that, so it's not funny at all. But it was my choice because I had two little child and I like to leave them, and it was the quickest and safest way in that moment for me to be sure I would be well. Uh, but there are other ways, and the best of all is not to have to make these choices. So sometimes we get used in our habits that are unconscious, and we suffer and we play with our body. So it's because of that I am here now, and we are here now because we can change and evolve from bad things that harm us, that or we can avoid them before that. That's what I call to choose with to change with things we don't like, or to change before and evolve, and to choose to evolve being happy. and healthy, and it's much better. Oh, so I now choose to evolve with happiness and health and good thoughts that make me feel great, instead of evolving because some disease came. And with COVID, many people that were in stress had to be at home, and many learned to be calmer and to change their life. And other got even more stressed because they believed in diseases, and their lives were disrupted in an awful way. I always say in the commas. Um, and for them, for some of them, it was awful. Yes, because they had to deal with that husband all the time, and they didn't like it or anything else. And some of them are still in a lot of stress because sometimes we are so stubborn, our mind is so stubborn that doesn't wish to see and change because we have those habits, those unconscious habits. And so it's like that. They didn't hit the head in the wall yet. One day they will. And when they will say, no more, I don't wish this for me, no more. It is the end. I don't want this now. No, not ever, never again this. And then, yes, they start to change. So I wish to change easily and with fun, and because I wish and I follow my heart, and my heart always knows best and always gives me the best changes for me, for my case, my personal person, personal person, my personal case.
That was so beautifully said. And when you were hitting the head on the wall, right? And it made me remember the incident with my father when he was transitioning. And I had a very strong presence that the hours before he had a stroke, and I wasn't near him, I was miles away, but I had this very strong presence that he and my mother were arguing, and she was saying, you need to fix this. And my mom had already transitioned, and he's like, no, I'd rather die. And I remember having this thing, and I'm thinking, what's going on? Like, it feels like, am I remembering something as a child? Like wondering, because it was very, very clear to me. And I was like, I don't want to die. Like, what is it all of a sudden I'm tuning into? And, letting it go and going walking on a beach. And a few hours later is when my father had his stroke. And in the process of those 10 days of him transitioning and lying there, I had so many magical moments of animals communicating and his spirit. And the long and short of it, without going through the whole process, is my father was agnostic. So I used to make a joke and say, when you realize that there's more to life, you can come back and tell my brother. And so when he was being transferred from the one hospital to the other to be operated on, a raccoon showed up at my door here and tried to open my screen door. And I was like, the eyes were so gentle, and I was perplexed, right? And I was thinking, shut the door. And so I immediately thought, maybe I'm still healing my fear. But the eyes kept, what are the eyes? And then I heard what happened. and then it was the seagull, and then it was the hare. And this process, it was finally, I got told that he didn't want to hear from my brother. He did not want to hear my voice, you know. And I kind of thought, because I said, listen, if he doesn't want to hear it, if it's going to stir up that he thinks, you know, it's okay. I've already said everything I need to say to him. But the birds kept coming, and he's like, I want you to call me. So I called finally, and I got the hospice nurse, and I said to her very clearly, I'm told by my brother that he doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want to hear my voice right now. So I want you to say very clearly to him that he's coming to me in spirit, and he's asked me to call him. Does he want to talk to me? So she says, I hear her, she's like, Ken, it's your daughter calling. She says you're coming to her in spirit and you want her to call you. Do you want to talk to her? And she said, he's squeezing my hand tightly. He wants to talk to you. And I said, great, put the phone up. You know, so I said, I love you, Dad. It's fine. It's all good. It's okay, right? You know, and she gave me back the phone. She said, oh, his eyes opened, his breathing increased. He had a little smile. He so wanted to hear from you. And the next day he passed away, right? And when he passed away, a blue heron showed up right before he came, and the heron said, take a picture of me, take a video. I'm going to get your dad and me. So I had this picture of a heron flying off, and then the sun set, and as soon as the sun set, I texted my brother and I said, is Dad at peace? And he said, yes, he just passed away. And so there's always healing, right? I think that's what my point of the story is even though we might think someone's hitting their head against the wall, or someone's not hearing you, or someone's not taking the right action, they're doing it the way they need to do it. They're doing the best they can with what they know. It's their path, it's their journey, it's their perspective. And my job and Mena's job and your job is to stay in that sense of peace and joy in our lives, trusting our guidance. Because when we trust our guidance, we actually give permission for everyone else to trust their guidance and to love and respect every one of us.
When we trust our guidance, we are giving permission to other people to follow their guidance. And it's so good to be connected like that, because when we are connected with our essence, with spirit, we are conscious of those messages that can be full messages for others, but we know something is true in our heart. And I think all of this is to choose between fear and love. And we chose love. That's why we are here. And with love, all is well. All is always well. Always. And everything is perfect.
Yes. We love you.
And we are here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Na, 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 na,
And you can
na, na, na.
leave a comment, or if you need some individual attention and support, we are here.
We are here. And you can share this with whoever you feel that may be important for them. You are important too.
You are. You are the most important. And when you recognize that you're the most important because you're who you are and you're a part of the whole, it's like every cell is important, right? Every cell needs to do what we need to do in our body, and we're all part of this whole. So I love you. I love you, Mena. I love you who's watching. I love, mwah. Big hug.
Big hug for you, all of you. We love you. We are here for you and for us too.